One clear morning, the sun was just rising as I walked through the quiet streets. My phone buzzed, breaking the peace. It was Salman, my colleague and friend from work for the last few years. His voice trembled with urgency as he uttered the words that would change everything. Meet me at the location I sent at 2 p.m. today. It's time we confront them. We had recently joined a new animation studio a few months ago. Initially, it was a beacon of creativity. But it soon became a greedy house focused on making money without paying its employees. To understand this story, we need to go back. We had joined a new animation studio, leaving behind an old job that was a complete disaster, though that's a story for another day. We were filled with excitement and brimming with ideas, eager to dive into our projects and make a mark in this new environment. The studio, with its promise of creativity and innovation, seemed like the perfect place for us to unleash our potential and bring our visions to life. At first, everything was great. Our team worked well together, ideas flowed easily, and we were full of creative energy. The owners had successful YouTube channels with kids' rhymes and stories, making a lot of money. We laughed, dreamed, and believed in our projects, sure that we were creating something amazing. The studio was full of creativity and promise, and we were thrilled to be part of it. We received our salary in the first month, but as the calendar flipped, our wallets remained empty. The studio owners promised salaries, but our bank account stayed stubbornly empty. We clung to hope, working tirelessly for 3 months, convinced that the next paycheck would arrive. In an effort to cut costs, the studio owners decided to have us work from home. They assured us that our salaries would be paid soon. We reluctantly agreed, hoping their promises would hold true. Days turned into weeks, weeks into months. 2 long months dragged on, and still, no salary was deposited into our accounts. Our trust was hanging by a thread, fraying with each passing day. Frustration grew among us. We had bills to pay, families to support, and dreams to pursue. The studio's empty promises were no longer enough. My friends and I made a tough decision. We would stop working until we received the money we were owed. It was a risky move, but we had no other choice. We couldn't continue to work for free while the studio owners ignored our pleas. We hoped that by taking a stand, we would finally get the salaries we worked so hard for. 6 more months went by, and still, we hadn't received our balanced salaries. Desperation set in as we searched for jobs at other animation studios. Our savings dwindled, and soon, we found ourselves in the red. To cover our daily expenses, we had to take out loans, sinking deeper into debt. We were in a tough spot. We felt betrayed and helpless. But we had to keep fighting for what we were owed. The struggle wasn't over. We were determined to see it through. The emotional toll was heavy. Each day without pay made us more anxious and stressed. Sleepless nights were filled with worries about bills and debt. Our once vibrant team was now weighed down by despair. Conversation shifted from exciting projects to survival and uncertainty. Our friend Danish felt especially isolated, struggling with the language and being far from home. We tried to support each other, but the burden was heavy. Despite everything, we held on to hope. We knew we had to keep pushing forward, not just for the money, but for our dignity and fairness. The emotional scars were deep, but our resolve was deeper. We were determined to see justice served, no matter the cost. For the last 6 months, we tried calling and texting the studio, but our messages went unanswered and our calls were ignored. We were in our hometown, and visiting the studio in Bangalore would cost us thousands of rupees, which we couldn't afford. Every day, we tried to reach them, but 6 months passed with no reply. Salman and Danish are seasoned professionals with 15 years of experience, earning 70,000 rupees each per month. I, on the other hand, am a newbie with just 2 years of experience and a salary of 20,000 rupees per month. Back today, Salman called to say he had arrived in Bangalore and Danish had reached too. Both of them had travelled 500 kilometers to get here. My home is around 70 kilometers from Bangalore, about a 2-hour drive for me. We all decided to meet at a coffee place in front of the animation studio before confronting the owners. Salman got married 2 years ago and recently welcomed a newborn. Danish, on the other hand, has been married for a while and has a 10-year-old child. Both of their lives have been especially tough, with no money and drained savings. When we finally met up, a mix of emotions washed over us. There was relief in seeing familiar faces after months of struggle and isolation. Despite their exhaustion from their long journey, Salman and Danish managed to smile. We felt a sense of camaraderie knowing we were in this fight together. But beneath the relief, there was tension. The weight of our unpaid salaries and the uncertainty of what lay ahead hung heavy in the air. Salman, with his newborn at home, looked particularly worn out. Danish, usually calm and composed, had a furrowed brow, reflecting his worries. As we sat at the coffee table, sipping our drinks, we exchanged stories of the past months, the frustration, the sleepless nights, the endless attempts to contact the studio, all of it poured out. Yet, amidst the venting, there was a spark of determination. We were here to confront the owners and demand what was rightfully ours. Salman expressed his disbelief at finally being there, sharing how tough it had been with his savings gone and a newborn at home. Danish echoed his sentiments, emphasizing the months of unanswered attempts to contact the studio. We all agreed that we needed to confront the owners and demand our salaries, stay calm and present our case clearly. We decided that if the owners refused to pay, we would be ready to take legal action to stop their exploitation. Meeting up gave us a renewed sense of purpose. We were no longer isolated individuals fighting a losing battle. We were a united front, ready to face whatever came next. We left the coffee place with a renewed sense of determination, ready to confront the studio owners and demand the salaries we had worked so hard for. The road was uncertain, but together we felt stronger. When we entered our old workplace, it was completely empty. With the help of the building owner, we discovered the new location of the studio. We had worked with a few employees from this studio who were now in their hometowns. We had their numbers, so we called one of them and uncovered the dirty secrets. The animation studio owners, a couple, had a habit of doing this since the beginning of their studio. They would hire employees to work on projects, pay salaries for the first 2 months, then send employees home to work remotely, They promised salaries, but stopped responding to calls and texts once employees started demanding their pay. The building owner also told us that the studio hadn't paid rent. When he asked for it, the lady threatened him with fake allegations and showed her lawyer badge. He was just relieved when they finally left, even without paying rent. We saw the pattern. These two scam artists made employees work, upload story and rhymes content on YouTube to make money, and then didn't pay salaries. The more we learned, the clearer it became that we were dealing with seasoned scammers who had perfected their deceitful tactics over time. This realization fueled our determination to confront them and seek justice for ourselves and all the other employees they had exploited. We arrived at the new location of the studio, and as soon as we entered, the look on the owner lady's face turned to rage. She started screaming at us to get out. Knowing the law, we realized it was better to leave the premises. Once outside, the lady went into full Karen mode. I had seen such behavior in movies and TV shows, but never in real life. Remembering the old building owner's words, my sixth sense kicked in. While she was screaming at Salman, I discreetly took out my phone and started recording. I was wearing a shirt that day, and my phone's back cover blended in, keeping it hidden. After a few heated exchanges, Salman mentioned that he would come back with the police. Hearing the words police, the owner went into an even crazier Karen mode. She grabbed her slipper and threatened to slap Salman with it. In our country, being hit with a slipper is considered the lowest form of disrespect. I couldn't believe my eyes, but thankfully, I recorded everything. The owner lady then took the lift and ran away. We assumed she was going home to talk to her husband. We called the police helpline, and within 10 minutes, the superintendent of police and a constable arrived. We explained our story, and they took us inside for an investigation. They spoke with the employees working there. There were 6 new recruits, and when we talked to them, they informed us that they had been hired just 2 weeks ago. Their faces fell as they heard our story. We hoped they would realize the scam and find new jobs soon. The superintendent told us to file a complaint at the nearest police station and said he would notify them about what happened. When we arrived at the station, the owner lady was already there, doing a complete 180. Her enraged face was now teary and sobbing as she told a different story and tried to file a complaint against us. I knew this was going to happen. I wanted to start by showing the video, but waited to see what drama she would play. From the information we got from the former employees, we learned that the owner couple came from another state. When COVID hit, they faced a huge loss, closed their office, and moved to Bengaluru, known as the Silicon Valley of India. Her crying drama was nothing short of award-winning. She didn't need glycerine to cry. Her acting was mesmerizing. She started blabbering again, and the constable taking notes sensed something was wrong because her story kept changing. She started with harassment and then claimed we pulled her hair and tried to assault her. I knew a woman's word is often stronger than a man's in such situations. I don't blame that. I support justice for victims. But for a woman like her, I couldn't let her ruin our innocent lives. I played the video in front of the constable and explained everything that happened. Seeing the video shocked the owner lady's face. Her crying stopped, replaced by a look of utter shock. At that moment, the constable realized she was lying. Her crocodile tears had vanished in seconds. She then started screaming that we were giving her mental torture and harassing her at the studio. The constable warned her to calm down, saying this was not a fish market and she was disturbing the peace. The on-duty police officer arrived and after hearing the story, called the lady owner inside to take her statement. The constable told us to stop this and go home because she might accuse us of and try to ruin our lives. Yes, those words came from a man with 30 years of experience in the police department. The man who was supposed to get us justice. It was the most shocking moment of my life, and I sent a universal scream to those who think men have it easier in this industry. The police officer then told us they couldn't help us with the salary issue since it was out of their duties and advised us to file a complaint in the labor court. Salman and Danish decided to stay back in Bengaluru and go to the labor court the next day since they were owed more than 1 lakh rupees each. I decided not to proceed further since I was only owed 20,000 rupees and couldn't afford to lose more fighting this. The police constable asked us to sign a paper stating we would never visit the studio again and would fight this battle in labor court. I didn't want to sign, but they also made the owner lady sign a statement saying that she would not file any case against us now or in the future. I left the police station blaming the justice system and appreciating all the villains in comic books and thanking God for not giving superpowers to anyone. Me, Salman, and Danish gathered at a small tea shop, feeling the weight of our situation. We were sad, but Salman, with determination in his eyes, said this wouldn't stop him from getting the justice and the balanced salary we earned. I informed them about my decision to end my journey here. I had been unemployed for 6 months and asking for more money from my father didn't seem right. At 28 years old, I felt I should be taking care of my parents, not the other way around. It hit me hard. I looked up at the sky and sent a message to God. I told him I wasn't going to ask for anything more. I just hoped that thousands of people facing similar problems would get what they deserved and the world would become a slightly better place. I am the kind of person who trusts karma more than God. As Lord Krishna would say, do your best and leave the rest to me. I will wait for karma to strike and see what fate has in store for this scamming couple. I wonder how long they will continue their deceit before karma catches up with them.